Hey everyone, welcome to the Nintendo Prime Podcast, episode 75. We've hit the quarter century mark on podcast episodes, so that's always good. I am your host every week. You guys know, Mr. Nintendo Prime over here, Nathaniel Rufflejans. To my right, Mr. Mike Perez. How's it going, buddy?
Going good. What's up? What's going on?
Not bad. You guys should go check out his channel, Mike Odyssey. We got it in the description, a little @ down there. You click on that, it takes you to the channel. Why don't you throw a subscribe? Although chances are if you're watching, you're probably already subscribed. His channel momentum is skyrocketing. It's almost like you're Jimmy Neutron and you figured out how to traverse the galaxy.
I just need to find out how to do the hairdo.
There you go. Yeah, you just need a fancy hairdo, and then you're all set to go. Then you'll be at 100K tomorrow. You just need to get the hair sorted. How you guys doing? We have a pretty packed show. We got a lot of big topics because we've actually had quite a lot of news. It's been a very good week from news. You know, we had an Indie World. We had Sonic Frontiers come out. We had a financial briefing happen. So it's been a really big week for news. Next week's another big week, at least towards the end, because Pokemon comes out next week. So that's something to excite people. Of course, that's going to be more exciting towards not this upcoming weekend, but the next weekend. So we'll see what happens during the week. There'll be trailers and all this stuff too. There's been trailers every week at this point. Yes, the games are leaked. Yes, there's a bunch of information out there. No, we will not be talking about any of it. That being said, we're going to start off this show the way that we try to start off every show, sometimes successfully, sometimes not. And that is by talking about what have we been playing lately? Yes, I've been playing things. Mike has been playing things. So
We have.
Mike, what have you been playing lately?
So I've been playing a little game that I wasn't planning on playing at all.
Just a little.
It's
game.
like I started. You know what? I started the morning saying, you know what? I'm gonna pass in this game so that I can, and I'm gonna go for because it's two major games in literally less than 2 weeks. So it's like $59 plus $59, right? And I'm like, okay, I'll just wait. I'll wait for the next one. And then I ended up spending $120 on the same game. On the same exact game I said I was gonna skip. So Sonic Frontiers. I bought it for the Switch, and then I bought it for the Xbox. So yeah, I mean I've been playing that.
In
game
other
because,
words,
you know,
he wasn't satisfied with the Switch version, so he had to get another version.
I was just so curious, man, because I'm like,
At least you didn't go. At least you didn't do this. At least you didn't buy it for Switch, and then it's like, oh, man, this sucked. You know what? Let me buy it for Steam instead, because it doesn't work very well on the deck either.
it doesn't work on the deck. It's not compatible.
No,
I tried.
it plays, but there's some issues because it's not deck compatible. It would have been hilarious if you would have ended up spending $180 just so you can get a playable version.
Dude, man, yeah. I mean, I'll share my comments later on the segment. But yeah, I mean, I spent $120 on a game that I wasn't gonna skip. And I'm playing it on Xbox Series X, which is I'll share my thoughts with that. I'm also playing some really special game that turned out to be a little bit more fun than I thought it was going to be. You're probably going to end up playing it later on too. Yeah, it's catching bad guys and cops and robbers and stuff, and it's pretty cool. You'll hear about it more later on. But yeah, better than buses. That's what I gotta say.
Yeah, haven't played the game yet, but it is in my inbox, and I have to play it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Based on the deadline, I really don't have much. I can't really put it off much more. But then again, it's not my fault. Yeah. They contacted me like yesterday, so it's not like I had a lot of time. So they're lucky. They're lucky.
Is it November or December?
What?
They told me December.
Yeah, they told me we want it this Saturday.
Oh wow, okay, that was
It's a little last minute. It was very last. I was like, this is extremely last minute. I will try. I don't have a lot of time to fit it in, but we will. There will be a video that exists So on this game, this upcoming weekend on Saturday, because there has to be. But yeah, that game aside, which I haven't played yet, Sonic Frontiers is what I've been spending a lot of my time with, at least since Tuesday when it came out. It's interesting because I'm only playing the Switch version. I have not bought it on anything else.
Yeah.
I have no plans to buy it on anything else. And I understand why people don't like the Switch version. I also am having a blast, so I actually don't care. Yeah. And that's on an 85-inch TV over here, 4K. Oh, yeah, it's blurry as hell. It is one of the blurriest games I have ever played on Switch. Oh, 720p. That ain't no 720p. I'm telling you right now. I can put Doom Eternal on this damn thing on my Switch and it looks better. I don't know what the dynamic resolution drops to on Switch, but it's pretty low. But I'm still having fun. And we're going to, we might as well just get into that right away because that was going to be one of our topics today anyways with Sonic Frontiers. So just hopping right into Sonic Frontiers. First off, the reviews are always fun. At this time, there is still not enough reviews of the Xbox version to have a Metacritic rating yet. On PlayStation 5, it has dropped now to a 72 off of 57 reviews. The Switch version's actually sitting at a 73, but it only has 5. It only has 5 reviews.
Okay.
And I mean, Nintendo Life's review is the one really dragging it down because they gave it a 4 out of 10. Nintendo Life.
Oh man,
they did not like. To give you an idea of this is an example of one of the worst reviews I've seen for the game yet. Sonic Frontiers is a brave new direction for the series, but this first open zone entry misses the mark by quite a margin. Traversal and combat annoyance plague the experience from start to finish, while structurally the game offers up very little variety, instead leaning on repetitive fetch quests and get exasperating after the first island. As far as the Switch version goes, it's quite comfortably the worst option available to fans, with graphical compromises that make it impossible to recommend if you're able to play it anywhere else at all. If you're going to get this game, we implore you try it out elsewhere. 4 out of 10. That's like their last paragraph.
Woo.
So Nintendo Life was not. Other places like Nintendo Ruse gave it a 9 out of 10. So I mean, there's other Nintendo places giving it higher. But what's interesting, of course, is the stark contrast between the critic reviews and the user reviews. Okay. So, as an example, for PlayStation 5, it's at a 72, but the user score is at a 9. Ooh, so that's a huge difference. On Switch, it's a little lower. It's at an 8.7 instead of a 9. But user scores seem to be much higher. Now, to be fair, on Metacritic, they don't verify if you actually play the game. So
basically, we can't take it at value.
Yeah, so. It's hard to get a value. I think the PlayStation Store has user reviews though that are verified purchases. Let me go look up Sonic Frontiers on that store quick and see if there's user reviews on there. Maybe they don't have user reviews on here. Oh, if they don't, they should add them. Well, I know where there is user reviews verified. Steam. I don't know. Steam? I don't even know if it's on Steam. It is on Steam. Okay.
What?
And the user scores on Steam they don't have like a score like out of 10, but they are listed with over 3,577 verified purchases as 94%.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Very positive.
It's PC, so it should run a lot better on a PC, depending on
But there's a lot of, by the way, there's a lot of pop-in on every version. So like pop-in's a problem even on PC. But
I can vouch for at least the Xbox version because I gotta say that I think I bought the best version for Xbox. I bought the best version. I'm playing it on the Xbox Series X, so it's pretty powerful. But I played it on the Switch. I started playing on a Switch. I literally got dizzy. I got dizzy with all the the blurriness because my site is blurry already. I don't need to play a blurry game on top of my blurry site, you know. So
the double blur. The double blur.
Yeah, and then the constant loading of the grass in front of you, like little, it felt like popcorn. Like just it pops like this, like pop, 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 pop.
The pop-in's worse on Switch than it is on any other.
Yeah, it's like constant. The grass, you can actually be running really fast. Nothing in the horizon. All of a sudden, this monster pops in your face. Like, wait a minute, where do you come from? You weren't there like 2 seconds ago. You know, it comes up right off the back. So I was able to at least make it to that big monster, the one with the it looks like tentacles. It looks like three. Yeah. You have to climb up a bit and then kind of hit those things. Yeah, I made it that far. Before I say, you know what, I can't. I really don't want to play this game here because I feel like I want to enjoy this game. I was just walking around and just wandering around, and I was actually enjoying because I like the freedom of exploration. But I said no, I can't. I really want to just not have this. So when I bought the Xbox Series X one, night and day, man. Night and day. I went straight into the settings. I saw that they had the graphics thing. They wanted me to choose between 4K resolution or 60 frames per second. I chose 4K because I want the crisp. I want the clarity.
Give me the crispies.
The what?
Give me the crispies.
The crisp. Yeah, it was all there. The crisp was all there. You know, like in the beginning of the game, you know how they try to make it like staticky. In the Switch version, you have no idea what they're trying to do there. But in the Xbox version, you'll see, it looks like you're actually watching somebody through a screen, and the screen becomes staticky, and then there's rain, and then also the rain kicks in.
Yeah, the rain on Switch is bad.
Yeah, and then you can actually see the raindrops, and you feel the rain there. You see, okay, that's rain. You know, but yeah, on the Switch, I'm like, what's happening? Is my TV messing up? Like, I felt like I was back in the 80s, trying to adjust my antennas and trying to get a good signal. But on the Xbox, I have to vouch for that version because to me, best version. You know, I mean, I agree with Nintendo Life and to a point when it comes to story. I don't think Sonic has had the best of stories. When it comes to it's always the almost same thing.
Well, it's kind of like Mario. Like, who plays these games for the story?
Yeah, but in a way, look at Bowser's Fury. You know, do you rescue the princess there? I don't remember.
I don't even remember if there was a story in Bowser's Fury, to be completely honest.
Yeah, there was. Well, the story was that Bowser got filled with this black gook, and you had to help Bowser Jr. rescue his dad, which is Bowser Dad, which is different. You know, we're not saving a damsel in distress. We're trying to save Bowser. Literally, that big giant monster. We're trying to save him. Yeah, I'm still having fun. I'm still playing it. I'm gonna finish it. But the Xbox version, I am actually enjoying it a lot. I'm enjoying to be honest, I don't know what's going on story wise. I literally don't know what's going on story wise. I saw a few cutscenes. I don't think they were well explained or even immersive enough to get me into.
Okay. So here's my first complaint about this game. All right.
Yeah.
So they released a prequel animation that explains the story leading into the game, but they didn't include this prequel animation in the game.
Wait, so you have to watch.
You have to go like YouTube and watch it.
What the heck?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I'm sorry. This is the stupidest decision. Other people tell me, "Oh, it's fine." No, that's not fine. It's not fine that I can't understand what's happening unless I leave the game to watch it somewhere else. That makes no sense. Sense. Imagine that all the cutscenes in Breath of the Wild that tell you the story, the brux of them that explain what happened 100 years ago, I'd have to leave the game to find out what happened. Like, that makes no sense. It's one of the stupidest decisions I've ever seen.
I'm saying that makes sense to me in a way that it's missing a chunk of the story that I myself did not think about going to watch that because I didn't think it was nothing. And then playing the game, I literally don't know what the story is. And I'm just there for the world explanation to see where it takes me. You know what I mean? but this makes sense, which is very extremely. I don't know. I think this is like, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I remember hearing one of the developers say, or the lead developer of the game say, "Oh yeah, all we want is for the game to have good reviews." But man, whoever was in charge of the marketing, whoever was in charge of this plan, they need to be fired. They need to. This is not their forte. They need to
Yeah.
go somewhere else, because who leaves a chunk this huge of the game out?
Of the story.
You know?
Like it starts off, okay, Eggman puts this device on this weird thing that you don't even know what's happening, and I finally have control, and then it turns on him, and he gets, and you're just like, okay, what is happening right now? I have no idea what is. Oh, you got to go watch the prequel animation that's not included with the game. It should be the very first thing played in the game, but it's not because they. I'm fine with them releasing it early. That's fine. To tease the game, that's fine, but it should be included in the game. So I kind of get the gist of the story at this point, but it's also, that's stupid. I complained about it before the game came out, saying this better be included in the game. I'm like, I have not watched it. But you know it exists. You should go watch it. I know it exists, and I also know that if it's not included with the game, this is just one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. No one should ever have to leave a game to figure out the story.
Yeah.
If it's that critical, it should be in the game. Lots of games open with 5 to 10 minute long cutscenes. It's not unusual. They could have included it, but they didn't. So whatever.
Yeah, I as of right now, I think I'm gonna have to go watch it, because I'm completely lost when it comes to the story of the game. I'm just exploring, and I find myself kind of I'm basically, what I know to do is to unlock the map. That's my story. I have to. That's my goal, to unlock the map, defeat these big monsters. I think they call it Titans, right? Titans.
The Titans, yeah. Collect the Chaos Emeralds. 7 of them.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's basically it. I have no clue what the story is, or I just follow the little countdown number from afar. I just keep going. You know what I mean? But that's basically it. But I'm enjoying it. It's not that I'm not enjoying it, because this is the first open zone Sonic game, and I like exploration, so I'm actually enjoying this. I just believe that ever since the beginning, this has been a mess with this game. Like, the marketing has been a mess with the game from the very beginning. They've done everything. It's like, what not to do when marketing a game. They did everything. What not to do when marketing a game. They released a video with IGN of an unfinished product that had nothing in it as a first impression, which is, you don't do that.
You know what the stupidest part of that was? That IGN first, now that I've played the game, I know what section of the game they were allowed to play to showcase.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did you guys showcase the opening tutorial most boring part of the game? That was the stupidest thing to showcase. The stupid.
Yeah.
No one wants to see an empty world, because, guys, it is empty, because it's a tutorial. It's teaching you how to play.
Yeah.
And that's what they showed at IGN for. It was stupid.
In their defense, I think they were as lost as I was playing the game without seeing that content that they released. Because maybe they say, here you go, play. So okay, I'm gonna play. What do I do? Where's the storyline? What am I supposed to start? So maybe that's what they showed. They were as lost as we were. Like, okay, that's what you want to put out. We'll put that out. And I'm like, man,
remember they mentioned like the cyberspace stuff, but they said we weren't allowed to show it. So I feel like Sega was also like, you can't record this. You can't record this. You can only record this little tutorial section. And they're like, but this is boring.
It's sad, man, because that game has so much. I'm hoping they still have time. They can issue an update, put that story back in there, put something in there.
I doubt it.
But
they're pretty cocky about this. They think this game is perfect.
Yes, they are. I really did not like that interview where they were compared to Breath of the Wild, which, by the way, it's an insult to Breath of the Wild. and they took offense. They took offense to it. You know, they took offense to.
Yeah, they should.
We're
They
not,
should be happy to be
we're not.
compared to such a
We haven't been
amazing
inspired
game.
by Breath of the Wild. We have open zones, not open world. I'm like, okay.
But
You know?
everyone on the team is a fan of the game, so people don't draw inspirations from things that they enjoy. I'm confused.
And then a thing that I told you behind the scenes on chat, I told you, look, how is it that Breath of the Wild on Switch looks amazing, looks incredible, okay, compared to this game?
I know
on
why.
Switch. There is no excuse.
The
There is
engine.
no
They are using. So they talked about how amazing this engine is, and it's only possible because we use this engine. This engine is over a decade old. It has been behind some of the worst Sonic games. They won't let it go because they've heavily invested into it. And Breath of the Wild had a brand new engine built for it from the ground up.
Yeah, I mean,
If they want Sonic Frontiers to be that 10 out of 10 game, they needed to custom build an engine for their vision, not adopt an engine that was never intended for this type of game. Because, look, I mentioned there's popping on everything. I saw someone mention, well, the PC version. So here's the thing. I played the PC version yesterday. I can tell you right now, the pop-in is still there. However, you might not be noticing it because it's further off in the distance.
yeah.
So if you're paying attention and you're looking, like you're speeding around, but instead of looking at Sonic, look up, look where Sonic's going. You'll see things popping in because the draw distance only goes so far. And it's a limitation of the engine. It's not a limitation of the PC. The engine is not that like literally people are like, well, why didn't they just go with Unreal Engine? Good question. I don't know. I don't know. An engine that's actually compatible and works with everything? I don't know. We have to use the Sonic engine because we've invested all. It reminds me of EA that has been forcing Frostbite into all their games. Frostbite at this point is almost 20 years old. It's time to move on.
Yeah, yeah.
But they
Oh,
won't.
the Hedgehog engine, I think is they're calling it.
Yeah. It's just. That's the thing. Like the big difference, if you want to talk about, hey, don't compare us to Breath of the Wild, you're right, don't. Because they care and they will custom build an engine to suit their games. You won't. You'll just force an engine that was never built for this. And by the way, I actually really like Sonic Frontiers.
Yeah, yeah.
But I know it can look better than this on all platforms, but definitely on Switch. There is nothing happening in this game. Even at the speed Sonic is going, I haven't seen better from other games.
Nope.
The Witcher 3 looks better.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, on Switch, I played it on there's adventure mode and there's a speed mode, right?
Yeah,
There's speed.
Yep.
I put it on adventure mode. You know, it's not because I didn't know about the game. I just wanted to more explore rather than go really fast. I wanted to see the surroundings, and even that, you know, it's at a slower pace. Things weren't loading all the way, but things that were right in front of you, which is what was the issue for me. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
So I'm walking through grass in Breath of the Wild that moves to my footsteps, but here the grass is loading every 3 feet in front of my character.
I actually booted up Breath of the Wild, played for a little bit after playing Sonic on the Switch, and I'm like, this is what the Switch is capable of. It could do this.
By the way, that's a game made for a platform weaker than Switch. Oh my god.
Yeah, there is no excuse, and people should not be saying out there, oh, but you got it for the Switch. Nope, that's not an excuse. The blame does not go on
the level of how bad this looks is not indicative of the power of Switch. And I understand that we can call Switch a weak platform, an old platform based on 8-year-old tech. It's fine. Say whatever you want. There are games on Switch that look significantly better than this that are more graphically impressive with more things going on.
Yeah, yeah.
This is just a bad engine choice.
Guys, don't get us wrong. The game, once you get into it, is a fun game. It's just the performance of it, and the quality could have been so much more. You know, it could have been so much more because the potential was there. I think the idea for the world building was there. The world is nice looking. You know what I mean? And the idea of the fact that you can go inside, you come into this open world, and then there's areas, not to spoil too much, but there's areas where you just hop in and you play like little sections of past Sonic, games, which is a really cool concept. You it gives you a little bit of both worlds, and they had almost the right idea, with the worst execution I have ever seen of any company, not only in marketing but also in performance. You know, again, that hedgehog thing they've been pushing for 10 years, and they say it proudly. Oh yeah, we have this hedgehog engine.
They've been working on for 10 years. Yeah, time to get rid of it and actually make something that suits the game. That'd be great.
I mean, yeah. But,
or just use somebody else's engine, like Unreal Engine 5.
I want to play it. I want to finish it, but I have to go now. I gotta go watch that thing. So that at least
you understand the story.
Yeah, what's going
on. So basically, I understand why the game reviewed bad. Very understandable. Between performance issues and pop-in, the weird things that happen with the camera sometimes, the game will just take over because you have free roam camera with the right stick, but then randomly the game will just take that control away from you and completely disorient you. And just next thing you know, you're flying through the air and don't know where the hell you're going, and you're sitting here trying to correct it. Like, oh, I saw the loop coming. I already positioned my camera for it. Why did you take it over? Why did you flip me around? And now I don't know where the hell I'm going. It is stupid. Or I'm climbing something, and I my camera's positioned just the way I want to climb. Next thing you know, it takes control of the camera, zooms me way the hell out, and puts me inside a mountain, and I can't even see what I'm like, what are we doing? This is stupid. This is like, why? You had a free roam camera. Just let me control it. I don't need you doing it.
Yeah, and that's an issue they've had with a lot of Sonic games. They want to control you. They want to control the way you play it rather than you having to play it yourself or develop a skill for it. They think that you're not skilled enough to do a loop or do this. It has to.
You can't do a loop if you have control of the camera. Yes, I can. Especially since the loop is automated, anyways. Yes, I can.
It is. And I think is that because they want to control the way it looks. They want to control everything about the game rather than giving you the freedom to explore yourself or to instead of making it a. I saw that a lot when I was playing. I'm like, sometimes I just drop the controller. Okay, you continue. Just you play on your own and finish the loop or finish whatever. And and then I'm like, okay, it's something very Sonic, because even in the other games, there were points where you started a move, they took over. Sonic did a whole bunch of things. He looks really cool, posing and everything at the end, and all of a sudden, okay, but it's my turn now. Okay, I'll pick up the controller and continue playing again. And it looks like they wanted to continue this. This is something I didn't want in this game. That's something I didn't want in this game because it's supposed to give you more freedom. And I'm like, if they make those moves that Sonic takes over or the computer takes over and does a whole bunch of loops and does all this mumbo jumbo, instead of having you really balance yourself on one of those rails and practice, give you difficulty mode so that you can actually learn how to balance yourself in these rails and do all these tricks and learn, then that would have been a better experience. You get to learn something, but they took over, and it's something that kind of says a little bit more, says the same thing about their company and the way they develop games, and it makes sense. It makes sense because they
have some good games. I want to be clear. Sega makes some good games.
Yeah,
it's just I don't know what it is about. And by the way, I don't know that I could put the blame at the entire feet of the whole Sonic team because I feel like that's a little bit unfair because we don't hear from most of the team. But at least the people in charge, they come across rude, crass, full of themselves, and like their shit don't stink. And then you deliver this game, which I'll get into some positives in a moment because I really enjoy it. And then they, hey, we're aiming for this to be the highest reviewed Sonic game ever. Why aren't you aiming? Shouldn't that be the goal every time? Like that already rubbed me the wrong way when they're like, we want this to be the highest. Okay, I'm not saying that you should always be aiming for high review scores. It's like thinking about review scores when you're making games. But also, shouldn't you always want your game to be well received? I look at it as if you are making a game for an old school legendary IP like Sonic, it literally shouldn't release if you're not proud of the quality of what you're producing.
No.
And this isn't me saying Sonic Frontier shouldn't release. It's just, I just everything from the marketing to the interviews to the way they're talking now, like, it comes out, it's got all these bad reviews, a lot of people saying some bad stuff about it online, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, thanks for making Sonic Frontiers one of the most successful Sonic games of all time, blah, 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 blah. Like, how about you just go, like what was it? Day one, they came out, they told people if you bought the digital deluxe version, right, to not start the game if the DLC is not already downloaded. The day one DLC you get if you have the digital deluxe version, because if it, or even just the physical deluxe version, if you have not downloaded the DLC and you start your game, you cannot get your bonuses added to your play session. So if you already have a file, it's loaded up, and then you download the DLC after, it can't just give you the bonuses you get for that DLC. No, you got to restart a brand new save file to get those bonuses. Like, what? Who thought that was a good idea? Why can't it just plug in? Let me tell you something. That little bonus Nintendo Switch shirt that they included in Breath of the Wild if you did a certain thing and got it day one and blah, blah, blah. Guess what? It didn't matter if you updated the game or not, or if you updated the game later. The shirt would appear after the game updated, even in your current save file.
Yep.
I don't understand. Like, it just screams, man, we did not put as much thought into this as we, portrayed it. Oh, we spent years developing this game. That's cool. Every game takes years.
Yeah. I think the game would have benefited from it releasing in 2023 and around the summer in 2023.
Oh, remember though, they said we can't delay this game. It's perfect.
That's the issue.
You just need to play it.
Yeah, that's the issue. That's when you think something is so perfect that that I mean, it shouldn't be surprising. This is just something that the industry should look at. Like, the industry as a whole should look at this moment and say thank you, Sonic or Sega, for teaching us how not to distribute a game, how not to present ourselves, and how to take our time and just concentrate on making the best product possible, because this game has so much potential. It had so much potential.
Respect
like I said,
your consumers. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Like, the moment they said don't you dare compare this to Breath of the Wild. I'm sorry. Your own fan base is doing that. You should just let them do it.
Yeah. They're
it's a positive. Is the hold on. Or is the reason you don't want to be compared because your game is, in comparison, hot trash? It's not even in the same tier of game. It's just not. I'm really enjoying my time with it, and it is not in the same tier as Zelda. It's just not. It should be, but it's not.
No, not even close. I understand now why they didn't have a demo. I can guarantee you, if they had a demo for Switch, it would have been a Balan Wonderworld all over again.
Yeah, they didn't send out Switch review codes. I wonder why.
Yeah, no codes, no review codes, okay, and no demo. If we would have had review codes, forget it. If we would have had a demo, yeah, that would have been another Balan Wonderworld fiasco. Because, I mean, I don't know what to say. But again, the game itself, it is fun. Like, the actual gameplay of it, it's fun. It is fun. It's playable,
Yeah. So, like, I get why it reviewed bad. I get why some people think that it doesn't know what it's doing, because it sort of feels like three different games mashed together. So you've got the cyberspace stuff, which is classic Sonic, classic 3D and side-scrolling Sonic levels. Some people love those. Okay, cool. But they are completely different than how the game plays in the open world. So if you want to make that kind of Sonic game, then make it. Like, I understand Odyssey got credit for merging classic 2D Mario into the 3D world, but it was into the 3D world, and it was for really tiny segments. It wasn't like this giant thing that you had to reload. And so if they could have found a way to somehow make it where you merge into a wall and suddenly you're doing this classic Sonic thing for a smidge to get one of the hearts or something, Cool, but that's not what they did. They did it where you completely leave, you go to this different place, which makes no sense story-wise at all, and you are just, okay, cool, now we're doing classic Sonic levels because we're doing classic Sonic levels. That's great. And now we're going to kick you back to the... So, like, it just feels weird. It's jarring. And then in the open world, two things they have going on. One, the free-form, gotta-go fast way of traveling the world is... It's fun, it's neat, it's disorienting at times, but it's fine. But then that gotta go fast is then sort of taken away with slow-paced combat. And puzzles. So it feels like three different types of games mashed together. And to me, that is maybe the fundamental problem with Sonic Frontiers, is they think they're making this ultimate Sonic masterpiece, but really it's like they have three completely different ideas for what this game should be. No one could decide what it is, so let's just put them all into one game. Now, to be clear, Sonic's always going to go fast. Obviously. If Sonic's not going fast, then he ain't Sonic. But I think there's a way, and Adventure Mode helps with a little bit because it slows Sonic down, but I think there's a way that they could have balanced it a little bit better. I don't know that the balance is there with how it's handled. I mean, literally, you'll stop to do a puzzle and talk to Amy, and then the cutscene comes up, and it acts like Sonic's some crazy, clumsy fool, sprinting circles and doing all these crazy things when Amy's trying to talk to him, which isn't what happened when I approached Amy. I get that it's a cutscene, but the cutscene's not matching the gameplay. That's a little jarring. Now, I don't want to spend too much time. Like, it feels like we're being hypercritical because, look, this, by the time I'm done with it, potentially could be my favorite Sonic game of all time, despite all this criticism. Because underneath all of this, and I'm only playing on Switch, I'm getting that full-on Switch experience. I ain't playing it anywhere else. You know, I tested it at a couple of platforms. I get it. I know what it looks like. I'm committed, man. I'm going all the way with the Switch one. I'm going to beat the game. But it's just something about the slower pace stuff. I love it. And maybe it's just because I'm a Zelda fan, big Zelda guy. I'm used to slower paced puzzles. I'm used to, even there's like sometimes where there's some puzzles that involve more technical platforming that's a bit slower. I like that. I'm having a lot of fun with that. Maybe that's a callback to Mario and Metroid. I have no idea. For me, like why I enjoy these aspects of it, I enjoy fighting these big behemoths out there. Not just the Titan that you end up getting once you get your Chaos Emeralds and you get to fight that, because that ends up being some crazy aerial combat thing that's just awesome. But then even just fighting the enemies that are on the ground or the ones flying around and there's not enough enemy variety. Yeah, the base enemies are the same. Guess what? People complained about enemy variety in Breath of the Wild 2, and it's a 97. You can still not have a ton of enemy variety and be just fine if everything else is working. And for the most part, I'm really enjoying the puzzles. I'm enjoying the puzzles a lot more than I thought I would. I'm enjoying collecting the little Coco things, even though it's kind of weird. You just walk into them and collect them. I don't know. It's just sure. I guess it's easier than collecting Korok seeds, so I'll give them that. It's basically their version of Korok seeds. But it's so I was like, hey, by the way, Sega is going to come after me. I'm comparing it to Breath of the Wild. I'm sorry. You included a bunch of these collectible things that are essentially rock versions of Koroks. Oh, look, and there's an Elder. Oh, geez, just like there's... Okay, can you get any more blatant that you clearly got this idea from the Koroks in Breath of the Wild? Like,
what am I supposed to do with them? They follow me everywhere, and then they come up in a little bunch, like they spawn.
Okay. So when you have them, that means you haven't turned them in yet. So you turn them into an elder, like in Breath of the Wild, how you turn in the seeds to the giant maraca guy.
Yeah.
There's a guy that you turn them into, and then he will let you increase your strength or increase your stamina and stuff like that, your attack power. your defense, etc. So it's like a combination of what Korok seeds were just from the sheer volume and that you have to turn them in, and then sort of like the the three things you collect and then turn into the statues and increase your heart and stuff like that. And so it's like a combination of those two things from Breath of the Wild in this game. And by the way, it does explain it to you the first time you see them.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean you found the guy yet. But yeah, as soon as you talk to the guy, all the ones that you've collected, they'll go away then. But yeah, every time you stop running, they just show up. I know.
Talking to the guy is on the story path, right? It's on the,
No,
it's not
you have to discover him.
Okay, so that's the one thing that I have to figure out, because I mean I'm playing
And
in
there's two different ones.
because I want to take my time, slow down.
There's two different ones per world.
I want to speed up where I can speed up, because it's exactly what you say. You know, sometimes Sonic goes fast, but in this particular game, it's not a beneficial thing because you just lose so much. You know, you just have to kind of take your time. You know, go walk where you need to walk, run where you need to run, and high speed when you need to high speed. And I felt
there's times I appreciate the speed. Like there are moments where the speed's nice. Like when I'm fighting one of these big boss things, and all of a sudden I mess up and it's about to crush me. I love that I can just hit ZR and zoom the hell out of the way. Like that's sweet. That's only Sonic can do that. I love that. But that's organic. That's an organic use of the speed rather than being like it's forced. You know.
Yeah. So basically that's how I'm playing. I'm playing in adventure mode. I use the speed when I need to, but I love exploring some. So I'm basically just kind of wandering around, doing everything, taking my time, and enjoying the gameplay. You know. So overall, Sonic is it looks like it's a good game. It just needs. I think it just needs better.
I think you're cutting out, bud.
How about now? One check mic.
Well, now you're doing fine. Wait.
Good?
Think so. Your video never cut out. It was just your audio.
Really? Okay. So, I think the game so far, I'm enjoying what I'm doing in the game, even without even knowing what the story is sometimes. But yeah, it just needs a better direction to get you more immersed. Because anybody who is actually new and wants to get into this, I'm pretty sure they're gonna get they're gonna get bored really fast and just leave. We're used to Breath of the Wild. We love to explore. We find, we're used to finding our way through an entire land and then looking for the story. So we understand that. But anybody who's not used to that, can easily be distracted or easily be discouraged or even not want to proceed. Anybody who is used to the old Sonic games it's on a rail. You know what I mean? It's completely led. It's point A to point B. So it just needs a little bit more. I don't know, just a little more more. I don't even know. It needs
a Miyamoto to flip the tea table and tell them this is what works and this is what it doesn't work. And if I don't. The thing is, like, it's probably on the director, but I have no idea. Sonic Frontiers is a lot of fun. When I set aside, when I set aside like the crappy visuals and sometimes the FPS drops and the pop in and the confusion in the gameplay styles and how they just keep changing all the time. And I just focus on, all right, I'm going to explore the world. I'm going to do these puzzles. I'm going to collect the items and I'm going to fight these big behemoths. It's a lot of fun. There is something about this game that I understand now why when people played the demo at Gamescom and they were like, well, I played the demo. It was awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. People might call this sacrilege. I don't actually enjoy the classic Sonic cyberspace levels. I don't. They don't feel like they belong. They just don't. You spend a majority of your time in this open world and then you're just taken away and thrown into this classic Sonic style, which doesn't make any sense. It's got nothing to do with the rest of the game.
And let me get this right. Are we on island right now? And
yes,
right?
It's a bunch of islands. Yep.
There are more islands.
After you take on the Titan, you move on to the next island. Yep.
Okay. So wait, do you take on all the Titans and then you move on to the next island?
It's one Titan per island. So
Really?
so you need to collect 7 Chaos Emeralds on every island.
Yeah, I've
To
defeated
advance.
already a couple of Titans.
So you mean like that big that giant like in-world boss? That's like a Hinox.
Yeah.
That's not actually
Yeah,
a
that was-
Titan. Those aren't considered Titans.
It's the flying thing that you have to kind of go afterwards.
Yep, that's not a Titan either. Those are just in-world bosses.
All right. So what is a Titan? So I haven't even got to the first Titan thing yet. Then.
All right. Well, then you haven't progressed far enough in the. Yeah, here's the thing: you got to discover it. So I don't want to spoil it for you. But yeah, there's a thing you unlock, and I think the only reason I even had it unlocked is because I had the DLC, which gives me like extra hearts and keys and gears or whatever.
Dude, I spent $120. On
Yeah, dude, you'll
different
see
cop
the Titan.
model.
The Titan makes the big things that we fight in the world look really small, if you can believe it. It is so much bigger. And the fight is completely in the air once you get the guy. You can't fight it without the Chaos Emeralds.
Okay. Wait, hold up. I think I already faced the Titan who beat me up the first time. Is that it?
Sure. Well, yeah, he does beat you up the first time.
I met the little girl, the little robot girl with the red eyes.
Yeah. That means you faced off against him once, and then he kind of vanishes after that until you get the Chaos Emeralds. However, you know that one on the first world, you know the one giant tower you can go up. If you go to the top of that tower, you'll actually see the Titan off in the distance.
Ah, okay.
He's like just kind of sort of waiting.
Okay.
But and yes, you even see him on the Switch version. Like, I know people talk about the pop-in on Switch. The grass is really bad at popping in. The platforms are bad at popping in, but the enemies, I don't think the enemy pop-in's really that bad. The big enemies are almost always able to be seen, and maybe it's just because there's so much stuff marked on the mini map, so you kind of have an idea of what you're going to go do. A little confusion on one thing. I realized that I needed to run a circle around it, but like the chest icon, I'm like, what the hell does this mean? I figured it out, but there was no explanation at all what any of the icons mean. At all. None. Mm-hmm. Here's all these icons on your map. No idea what any of them mean. Not explained. At all. Like, it's just weird, but whatever. I figured it out. It's fine. Yeah. But also, you know, you did this whole tutorial thing. You could have tutorial the icons. Would have been nice, but whatever. Yeah. The thing, I don't know. I really enjoy the game though. Like for all this crapping on it, man, I see why some fans probably do give it a very positive rating because there's underneath all the BS, there's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like they're onto something. In my opinion, for what I enjoy. I know some people say, well, what they're onto is the cyberspace levels. But the cyberspace levels are just what we've always gotten with 3D Sonic. And it's never been super impressive. I'm not impressed by classic Sonic gameplay. I've been playing that for 30 years. The open zone gameplay is what I'm impressed with. Because it's new. I'm the blue blur. I'm zipping around. I'm having fun. I'm Shadow of the Colossus style fighting these giant behemoths. This is sweet. I wish Zelda let me do this. The biggest week, it's like a Hinox. And Hinox looks tiny compared to these things. By the way, Tears of the Kingdom. Take one note. I want some giant, epic Shadow of the Colossus style bosses just roaming the world. Please and thank you.
You think they're ever gonna fix the? I'm not sure if it's a glitch or if they just made it like on purpose. But I have almost all my little attacks, you know, because of the experience points you get by defeating enemies. Mm-hmm. Those little things that come. The
yeah.
I think I have like 2 more to unlock. And it's because
it's very easy to unlock. There's new things that unlock later that you won't be able to unlock till the game lets you. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to spoil it for you.
By the time I get there, by the time I get there,
You'll have enough
just
stuff to unlock everything.
I'll just spin around in circles and get a limited experience points and unlock everything.
Yeah, that is one of the weird things they did, where you do that thing and you could just literally run in a circle and just get unlimited coins and unlimited experience points. It's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even have to fight a battle. I did that before I went to that first boss. I just unlocked everything I could.
Well, one thing when they gave me that ability to get unlimited coins, I sat there and I'm like, oh, so then what's the point of all these rings that I can pick up in the overworld? Nothing, because I could just get unlimited anytime I want. And this is like I don't why. This to me is like, okay, Link can just pull out a pot anytime he wants and get new hearts.
Exactly. Because I remember every time I went low on hearts when fighting not hearts, low or you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
that was.
Anyway, so yeah, Sonic Frontiers. I'm having a lot of fun with it, even on Switch. I said this when people watch me play it live. I'm like, hey, look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend this thing looks the greatest, but I am having fun. And once I stopped thinking about the visuals and just enjoyed the game, it was pretty fun, even on Switch. At least, you know, what I'm playing of it, I'm having a good time. There's just parts of it that it's just too disjointed. That's mostly my main complaint. It's just disjointed. But there is a lot of good in there. Mm-hmm. But we'll see what I feel like when I beat the game, and who knows. For right now, you know, I probably get a 7, maybe an 8 out of 10 from what I played so far. That's just because of how much fun I'm having. If I'm being more critical, it's definitely a 7. Because like there's just some things that are just shouldn't happen, especially on Switch. It shouldn't look this bad. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not gonna take Switch hardware as an excuse. It shouldn't look this bad. It shouldn't look this bad. There's just, anyways. So we have a couple of topics we want to get to. How about the news video? Both of us made a video on this today. Miyamoto is opening his big fat mouth about stuff that has to do with the next platform. Not so sure that Shintaro Furukawa wants him to be talking about the next platform.
I'm not talking. Somebody has to be talking.
But he was asked a question. We don't even know what the question was because the Q&A itself has not been released in English. It's only in Japanese. And unfortunately, Google Translate's really bad at it. So Video Game Chronicle translated it themselves and put out there what Miyamoto had to say to a question that we're not sure if it had to do with the new hardware, but Miyamoto dragged the new hardware in. It probably had to do with Nintendo Switch Online or something, but Miyamoto went into a very lengthy... In fact, let me just read the quotes to you guys for those that haven't heard them yet, because I do have the article up right here. Credit to Video Game Chronicle, by the way, for taking the time to translate this. So, in the past, we provided a service known as Virtual Console. This is what Miyamoto said. That allowed users to play older video games on new consoles with newer hardware. As long as the hardware remained unchanged, those games would continue to be played. However, the publishing rights to video games are complicated, and we have said that we would only add titles after securing the necessary rights. Of course, video games developed for dedicated consoles were created in different development environments for each console. As a result, when the hardware changed, the development environment could not necessarily be reused. And so the video games that have been released on older consoles could not be played on newer consoles without additional modification. Recently, however, the development environment has increasingly become more standardized, and we now have an environment that allows players to enjoy older video games on newer consoles more easily than ever before. Now, by the way, this statement can't be about games that came out on NES, SNES, N64, because they still need to be modified to run on today's hardware. So that paragraph there is about what they're making now. It's not about back then, because they still have to customize each game with an emulator for Switch. Anyways, Miyamoto concluded by saying, however, Nintendo's strength is in creating new video game experiences. So, when we release new hardware in the future, We would like to showcase unique video games that could not be created with pre-existing hardware. So, obviously, there's a big talk about, I think, a lot of fear from people that two things that some people worry. Some people aren't worried about backwards compatibility at all because, hey, 3DS had backwards compatibility. Wii U had backwards compatibility. Granted, it was the worst kind of backwards compatibility. They just put a Wii in the Wii U, and then you had to reboot your system. It was dumb. And yes, obviously the handhelds have always gone back at least a generation. But Nintendo hasn't always done that. SNES was not backwards compatible with the Nintendo Entertainment System. N64 wasn't backwards compatible with the Super Nintendo, right? And GameCube wasn't backwards compatible. And even when Wii ended up being backwards compatible, it was only for a short while, and then they removed that feature from Wii's. So it was only a certain run of Wii's that even had the GameCube backwards compatibility. And now we're sitting here with Switch, and there's no guarantees that backwards compatibility would be a thing, because one of the biggest things that holds back backwards compatibility is massive changes in hardware architecture. But it seems that might not be the case moving forward. Nintendo might be using more standardized hardware, similar to how Xbox and PlayStation now use standardized hardware, and that Nintendo now has development tools that are going to allow us to more easily transition to the next platform and not take years and years and years to get used to developing on completely different hardware. That to me also means that the next platform is probably going to end up being pretty similar to Switch. I know he talks about, things we could never do on hardware before. I think he just means their own hardware. I don't think he means on hardware that exists somewhere in the world. Look at this cool VR stuff we can do. You mean like other VR platforms already? It's just going to be what Nintendo couldn't do on their own stuff. If they, decide they want to do another VR type of thing where you put the Switch into a headset. But the thing is, one of the things that people had a legit reason to worry about was Nintendo Switch Online. No doubt that your subscription to NSO is something they're going to want to not lose when the new platform comes around. They have 36 million subscribers to NSO. They don't want to lose that revenue, that yearly income. So a key thing to look at moving forward is, one, they called it NSO, and that's specifically what we subscribe to. Okay, another key that we're subscribing to something, they're not going to want us to unsubscribe and lose money. So the next platform probably still has Nintendo Switch in the name because they named their subscription service after it. There's that. Two, in the past, Virtual Console had to be rebought and redone and re-released on every platform. And I think they're kind of saying, hey, all this work we did to emulate these NSO games on Switch will just be forward compatible. We're not going to have to do all this work. So the library as it exists now will just be there day one on the new platform, and we'll just keep adding more games, more platforms. Maybe they start to form partnerships with other dead systems over the years. Maybe we end up getting Sega Saturn. Maybe we end up getting, I don't think we'll ever get PlayStation and Xbox, but I do think we could maybe get Atari and stuff like that. So there could be something where Nintendo can start working that out. Obviously, Nintendo still has a lot of their own systems that Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, all their handheld systems. If they decide they eventually want to add GameCube games, I don't know if they will, but if they decide they want to go that route. So Nintendo has a lot they could still do, and they can obviously still keep growing the classic library because we still don't have all of Nintendo's NES and SNES games. We just don't. There's a lot of them that haven't released yet. And who knows about licensing, right? They got licensing for GoldenEye, which is crazy. We've been waiting for that forever, and they were able to get that all worked out between them and Rare and Xbox and MGM and everyone else, and they got that taken care of. So I look at this as, I don't think there's a negative way to look at it.
Nope.
Also, Miyamoto brought up new hardware unprompted, it feels like, because it looks like he started by talking about Virtual Console. So it almost feels like he was unprompted being like, yeah, when it comes to new hardware, whoa, wait a second. The holidays are coming up, right? You're not supposed to talk about new hardware. Didn't tease anything about what the hardware is. I know that's what people really want, but it's very obvious they have new hardware behind the scenes that they're just not talking about right now.
I mean, it's in the top of their head. That's why he said it.
Yeah,
It's in the top.
he's literally. It's like we're developing for it right now. So like I'm thinking about it. It's there. So as I'm talking about this, it's like, oh yeah, and this will be like compatible with this and that, and yeah, we want to bring you new experiences. Why are we talking about new hardware and new experiences right now? And we're supposed to be worrying about Switch. We shouldn't be focusing on the new. Why are we talking about the new experiences for new hardware that's not out yet when we're supposed to be enjoying the experiences that are still to come? Okay, Miyamoto, we obviously know you guys are clearly working heavily and probably already developing games for whatever this platform is. So.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that since he's working, I'm pretty sure on the next. Well, he's not really working. He's maybe overseeing now. On the next gen Mario
Pikmin
game
4.
and all these games, I'm pretty sure he was like, man,
He might be directing Pikmin 4. He took the lead with Pikmin 3. So
those comments, he's like, wow, this is so easy to just to bring this to here because it's so easy that we're using the same exact tool, the same exact toolbox to develop these games in this game. So super easy to bring this over here. So that's why he came up with those comments because it was top of his head. He wouldn't talk about something he's not thinking about and he's not currently doing. But in a way, at least that not really shine too much light on it. But he doesn't know how much light he really did shine on it, But it's good because it gives us peace of mind. People who buy games on at least on the Switch, at least on the Switch, that your games moving forward, there's a big possibility. I'm not gonna say 100% yet until we get there, but there's a big possibility that you log in with your account, you go to the download section. Hey, there's all your belongings, all your games that you bought on the previous console. Download and play. He says that it's easier to do that now, but they're focusing on more on next gen games, things games that can do things that the Switch can't. And there I'm like, that gets me a little bit excited, but also a little bit worried. I'm like, don't experiment too much. Experiment is good, give something new, but don't wander off too much from what is already making you successful. We're calling a 19 million units, right? 19 million units, right? That's what they sold.
19 million units is the projected sales for the end of this fiscal year. Yes.
Yeah, we're calling that low. That's how great the Switch has been selling.
19% decrease in sales. Blah blah blah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we're calling 19 million units low when that's a huge success for any other console. And
it was the peak for PlayStation 4.
Yeah, that's how great the Switch is still doing. So when you're experimenting, when you're doing your own thing over there, trying to innovate the next best way to play, because you've done it, you've been doing it. Don't wander way too off that we have another Wii U incident. You know what I mean? So I get excited to see what they want to come up with, or what they have already come up with, because I'm pretty sure it's already done. And also get a little nervous to see what was it that they came up with. I'm hoping that they're just perfecting. They're perfecting. They brought the motion controls over with the Wii, right?
Sure.
Then they what was that?
Yep. No, you're right. Keep going.
Yeah. And then with the Wii U, they tried to bring the dockable handheld thing, and kind of factor, because you can continue playing on that pad even though you couldn't go that far because you lose contact. But at least that was what they were going for. They perfected it with the Switch. The Switch has motion controls, plus it has that dockable and take it with you feeling handheld console. You know what I mean? So they perfected that. I'm just hoping that now they continue to perfect what they have already been perfecting, which means you have to have a handheld and a dockable console, because that's the number one sell for the Switch. You take it with you no matter where you go, continue playing, keep the OLED, forget about the LCD. Hopefully they do that, because I agree with you. It's Nintendo. They might offer two versions of it, one LCD, one OLED later on, or whatever. But when it comes to Nintendo, I'm gonna move on to Nintendo Online, because I know they have to. Yeah, I'm just talking about what I want to see for the Switch, but we're talking about Nintendo Online. Nintendo Online, just like I called it, Nintendo Online. I feel like I keep calling it Nintendo Online, because I feel like when we move to they're treating it like the Nintendo Switch is part of the Nintendo Switch Online. And I feel like if they are going to keep the Switch name in the next iteration of the Nintendo console, then yeah, it'll stay NSO. But I feel like they're treating it just like they treat the console. If they release another console, the service is going to stay the same, but they're going to rename it to that console for branding and marketing purposes. So let's pretend we have, instead of the Nintendo Switch, we got the Nintendo Swatch, right?
The Swatch.
Yeah, I'm just making it. But they call okay. So now, we have the Nintendo Swatch now. Awesome, Nintendo Swatch is pretty good. All right, so now we have Nintendo Swatch Online. You know what I mean? They're gonna follow that pattern of having the online kind of match their current gen console, so that it's always a part of it. You know, unless they just call it Nintendo Online, which makes the perfect sense. Nintendo Online, because you have multiple consoles. It's not just Nintendo Switch Online, because you have NES, you have your SNES, you have your 64, you have Atari. They're not all Nintendo Switch. They're all it's Nintendo. You have what Nintendo is online. So it makes sense for them just to drop the Switch after the next gen and just stick to Nintendo Online. That way they have that there. They don't have to worry about renaming or giving people a thought that, oh, it's going to go away because it's NSO. It means Nintendo Switch. So when the Switch is out, that is out, and we have to start all over again. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think Nintendo Switch Online is going anywhere. I think it's going to continue. I've been saying it from the very beginning. It's something that it's also kind of almost perfected for them. I think it always get better. They can always add more consoles and add more games. And I hope like you just said, they actually reach out to other companies like Atari and I can't really think about any other company that's not PS1, Xbox, and Nintendo. Yeah, I hope they continue to add more consoles. I do believe GameCube is coming to online. I mean, I think that's the last one for Nintendo Online. I think GameCube is going to be the last one, because from GameCube and up, they could just remaster, report, make HD versions of the games, or just sell them individually. You know, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the future. I mean, Miyamoto just opened. I spoke to him. I don't know if you saw the video. he left.
Apparently, his lips move. They're pretty big.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can't control him. I can't control Miyamoto's lips. You know, it is what it is. He's been trying to grow a goatee, but I'm excited that he spoke, because nobody has been talking, and Nintendo fans needed this. They needed this little light, this glimpse of hope, to know that yes, there is more to come. Don't worry. Your games are still here. You know, they're not going anywhere. You're not losing. Actually, we're thinking about you now. And yeah, I'm happy that he spoke. So yeah, don't be surprised if you see Miyamoto in tomorrow's video. I think he has more to say.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
you teasing things?
I don't know. I mean, he can call me any minute and just say whatever.
I mean,
But AR, like Sam West says, Nintendo Switch AR. AR, that's augmented reality.
yeah, they did it with 3DS.
We already have AR. Nintendo already has AR with Pokemon Go. With,
Yeah, but that's on the
also
phone.
with Pikmin. It's a possibility. I mean, also AR with the Mario Kart game. That's also AR.
Yep.
So Nintendo's already in the field of AR.
Yep.
Do I like it? I'm not sure yet.
When I saw them do the home circuit thing, I sat there and I'm like, they really want to get back into AR. They regret not putting a camera on Switch.
Yeah, they do. They do. I mean, Nintendo Switch does need a camera. I'm like, this is good. It actually needs a camera. I mean, you can actually scan your face and put it in games.
Dude, I would like Face Unlock, man. I would love Face Unlock. Oh, I don't have to enter my password anymore. You just look at my face. Sweet.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorite features of phones.
Yeah.
Biometric scan.
Like blood, just have like a little
Yeah,
needle pop
they
up,
gotta take a prick of my blood, make sure my DNA matches.
right?
That's funny. Yeah, man, I'm really excited about it. You know, so people get confused when I made my video today. Did you just yesterday say they don't need a new Switch next year? I'm like,
Yeah.
look, guys.
I make fun of you on Twitter. I'm
My
guilty. I mean,
look. Like Mike mentioned earlier, they're projected to sell 19 million. That's a lot. From a pure
lot.
business perspective, they don't need to release a new platform next year. Now, 2024, probably, depending on. I mean, they hit 19 mil next year, then I don't even know that at this point. They can just keep pushing it off.
That'll be going to year 7. You think they'll go that long? It'll be the first time they go to year 7 if they go to 2024. March 2024 will be year 7.
Oh, I mean, we will be in year 7 of Switch before we know about a new Switch, I think. Which means we're not going to get one with Zelda. But I mean, I don't know. People don't want to hear that.
I mean, we don't know what Nintendo's going to do. We might get a upgraded version for Zelda. April looks like a good month to release one.
Like the other thing I think is working against it, and I mentioned this today. I think I mentioned it in the video too, but it had something to do with the yen is depreciating fast. And so money Nintendo made yesterday is worth less today.
Oh, that sucks.
And they are looking at possibly raising the price of Switch next year. I don't know that they ever will, but they have considered it at least. This is Nintendo's own words. That they are monitoring the situation to potentially do it, but they haven't done it yet.
Yeah,
Which means like if they're to the point where they're worried about the value of yen, so much so that they've at least thought in the back of their minds about raising the price. Not that they will. Then how the hell can they release new hardware?
But what I can tell you is that they might not up the price with the Switch, and they might use the new hardware to raise the price.
I think what Nintendo's waiting for is the yen to bounce back.
Yeah.
And now the yen could bounce back in a month. I mean, trying to project the future of this recession and when different economies and different countries are going to recover, I have no idea. So, I mean, literally by the turn of the year, the yen could be bouncing back, and this isn't even a problem anymore. But, you know, that's the thing. You know, you're projecting out an entire country's economy and when it's going to turn around. And we have no idea. Basically, everything that's happening now is the fallout of everyone staying home for 2 years.
I mean, they kind of did already. They raised the Switch OLED
special edition. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know why, because they've
been asked directly and have not said a damn word.
Exactly. So they at least in that point, I think they wanted to monitor to see how much that Switch. They're actually they're doing it, but they're monitoring to see how much the editions sell at that price.
A Zelda edition OLED comes out and they mark it up $20.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna buy it no matter what.
That's the problem. They can mark it up 50, and I'm probably still gonna buy the damn thing. Yeah. I don't know if I'll ever actually use it because I'm like, nope, too special. I already have an OLED. I'll unbox it, I'll show it, and then it's going back in the box, nicely, neatly wrapped, sitting on the shelf.
I'm surprised though. Because I think there's more Pokemon fans than there is Splatoon fans. And how is it that right now I can go to Target.com, I can go to Best Buy here local, I can go to Walmart and still pick up
online? Target and Walmart have them too.
Yeah, I can actually walk in. I can go here to Target and it says here, order now, pick up in store, ready in an hour. Well, not an hour, probably close ready, but it's still available. You know,
depends. You might have a super Walmart open till midnight.
I think the price hike is actually affecting it. Yeah, I think the price hike could be affecting it. If it were the same exact price, they're not offering the game. If they were offering the game, it makes sense, but they're not offering the game. It's just the Nintendo Switch by itself. You know.
Yeah. I think what they might have done, because the Splatoon one sold out.
It did.
I think what they might have done is they didn't. I have two theories on this. Well, one is that they just made a lot more of these than they did Splatoon. I mean, that's pretty obvious. I mean, yeah, they made a lot more of them. Also, I think they knew that if they overstocked it and didn't sell out, that they'd be fine in the U.S. because other countries are sold out. Japan doesn't have any more of them. The UK doesn't have any more of them. I heard Australia doesn't have them either. It's the U.S. in particular that seems to have a lot of them still.
Yeah.
I think they overstocked on purpose, so when Black Friday rolls around, they can sell it with the game. I mean, they're not gonna package it, but that's like the idea.
Hopefully that.
Like, I wouldn't be
turns out to
surprised. It's as if I decide to go out on Black Friday. But if I went to my local Walmart on Black Friday, because for those who don't know how Black Friday works at a Walmart, if you've never been, they just have pallets of shit wrapped up. And literally, you sit there because this is a 24-hour Walmart, so you can go in and they will announce over the speaker when you can rip that plastic off and just go nuts. And I wouldn't be surprised if I went in there and there was a pallet of the Pokemon Edition OLEDs. Like, I think Nintendo thinks Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is gonna be such a big thing that people are gonna want this version at Black Friday.
I think, yeah, that makes sense. I think the game might actually push the OLED version sale
Because this is just from Japan. Pre-orders for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet in Japan are 400% higher than any Pokemon game that's released on Switch.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, like,
I mean,
I don't know what the pre-orders are like here. I know my local GameStop, when I asked them, they said, oh, yeah, we're doing a midnight launch, and we expect there to be a line of over 300 people outside. And that's, to give you an idea, my GameSpot is small. We live in a town of like 13,000 people.
Yeah.
The fact that I can actually name a meaningful percentage of them will be sitting outside waiting to get it at midnight. What? Like, we don't get midnight launches for Switch games, like, ever. There's not enough pre-orders. 300. That's insane. Now, I don't know what it's like the rest of the country, but I just imagine if my little area is like this, what's it like in the cities? The Nintendo New York store is going to be having lines wrapped around quadruple full-size city blocks. Like, it's going to be insane. I don't know what the numbers are going to do. I do think this might be a record launch. I've yet to see a big GameStop. No, I meant my area where GameStop is. GameStop stores are usually small, except for like special situations. Like the Mall of America GameStop's pretty big.
Yeah.
But that's Mall of America.
Yeah,
So like there's a few locations that are pretty large stores. But yeah, GameStop stores are always small. But it's about the number of people pre-ordering at them. And it's gonna be crazy, man. I think it's gonna do really massive numbers. And the thing is, they're doing the smart thing they do every time. They're launching before Black Friday. So they hit on two big sales weekends in a row. They drop the launch, sell millions and millions and millions. Then Black Friday hits, and they sell millions and millions more because they get their nice little restock in right before Black Friday. So it's going to... I think Scarlet and Violet is going to outsell Sword and Shield when it's all said and done and become the second best-selling game. And I think if it reviews well on top, if it's getting mid-80s, approaching 90s, it'll be the best-selling Pokemon game of all time when it's all said and done. I think it'll finally pass. I think Gen 1 could finally get passed.
Yeah.
The fervor around open-world Pokemon is just insane.
Yeah.
As much as people want to complain, oh, there's no national dex. Guess what? A majority of people don't give a shit. I'm sorry to say that you're in the minority, but you are.
You mean like basically find every Pokemon ever created? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, where you can have all of them in one. You can transfer all your Pokemon and have the entire decks in your game.
Has there been a game like that?
All the Pokemon games until Sword and Shield.
Okay, I see. All right.
Yeah. It's always been that way. They said, nope, we're done. And it pissed off a lot of people. And then Sword and Shield went on to become the second best-selling Pokemon game ever. So
yeah.
Didn't seem to be the whole boycott didn't really seem to work. It's almost like boycotts and Nintendo games don't work.
They don't. They don't. They don't. They do the opposite. So we should try boycotting our favorite games. That way we guarantee.
And Doggy, it's cool that you quote unquote played your part. Let me ask you how much the Pokemon Company cares. Oh no, a handful of people played their part and boycotted the game, and it's still the second best selling Pokemon game of all time. I think we're good. We're not really too worried about our lost sales over the decks. We're worried about the people that are still showing up 20 million plus strong buying our games.
That's just too crazy. That's just too crazy. I think, believe it or not, I think I'm not sure if I'm alone in this thought, but I don't think Nintendo is gonna. They're testing the waters with this price range for the Nintendo Switch Edition model. I think the current gen OLED model will stay there. The Switch base model will stay where it is, but I think we're gonna see a new price. That price hike that they're talking about is gonna be for the following console, whether it's another Switch or it's the next gen model that they're coming. I think that's where Nintendo is gonna say, okay, it's a new console.
If they
have
an upgraded hardware Switch next year, they can get away with $490 or $399.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because people will say, "Wait, it's a new hardware. It's a new Nintendo."
Yeah, your OLED's $350. It's only $50 more, and you can get upgraded hardware.
And they can continue selling the Switch side by side.
Yeah, I don't think they're replacing the Switch overall for a while.
Yeah, so it makes sense. Okay, that we have the what price you said, $399 for the next gen. So $399, even $429. Who knows? You know. And then $359, and or once the next model comes up, it'll stay at the price that these editions are.
Mm-hmm. Who knows?
So they will, so they end up raising that price too. So
I love how Pokemon fans ended up being no better than Call of Duty fans. I think that the situation with the national decks is that it was a very vocal minority that wouldn't shut up about it. Most Pokemon fans didn't care in the first place. So, like, to say, oh, they're no better than the Call of Duty fans, but the Call of Duty situation was completely different. This was just a feature set that they decided we no longer want to support because we're going to focus on other things. And it turns out that most people didn't care. Maybe even most Pokemon people didn't bring Pokemon between games as much as you might think. Like, it just became this thing where, guess what? It's not that they're not any better. I don't think... Like, I sat there, I remember how big a deal that this sounded like during E3 with all the people yelling, and yet for every person spamming Nintendo's Nintendo Treehouse chat, boycott, 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 there was like 18 times as many on the other side saying, I'm buying it anyways, I'm buying it, because I don't think this is a feature, and it's very clear to Game Freak and the Pokemon Company that this was a feature that it was needed to continue to be supported. Very clearly, it wasn't. It was something that a select subset of users really took advantage of. And they determined that subset of users isn't large enough for us to keep putting development time into it versus other things we want to spend time on. That's just the way it works. So they decided, yeah, we're done. It's okay if you still don't like it. It's okay if you'll never buy another Pokemon game because of it. And they don't really care because you are the vocal minority is the minority. They are just going to continue to grow the Pokemon fan base with what they're doing now. They just are.
Agreed.
That's the whole thing. Like, you don't matter to them. It's unfortunate, but that's the way. They're a business. They made a business decision. You didn't like it, and they got away with it because it turns out most people didn't care in the first place. It wasn't a feature that sold games. Overall.
Yeah.
Overall.
Yeah. Money talks.
Yeah. I mean, money does talk. And the bottom line is it's just, yeah. Like, I know a handful of adults that play Pokemon, and when I brought up Dexit, they're like, what's that? Oh, yeah, you know how you can, like, transfer Pokemon between games? Like, yeah, you basically can't really do that or can only do it for specific Pokemon and specific games. And they're like, well, I don't care. I just fill out the decks in every game. Turns out most people don't care. Like no, that's my circle, of course. But I think the 20+ million in sales kind of show that most people just don't care. It seemed to be the people that cared the most seemed to be the competitive scene. and the competitive scene is minuscule compared to the overall Pokemon user base. So, and what's interesting when I see the competitive scene get upset is I'm always like, oh no, you actually have to learn new Pokemon and new subsets and new rules and use them instead of the ones you've been using for 30 years. I'm sorry. Not 30 years, I guess. It's like 25 years, whatever. I don't know. I personally never thought it was a big deal. They're not your games. So I get that there's a lot of affinity and a lot of attachment to Pokemon that people have been carrying for 20 years, but I don't know, man. You could still play the old games and play with your Pokemon. No one took that away from you. Now, setting all that aside, somebody mentioned in the chat that Mike quit YouTube.
What?
I know why they're mentioning it. I think it's that video you made. What was it, a month ago now?
No, that's like what, 3 months ago, right?
Was it 3 months ago? Yeah, when you said like you have a finite time and I know when the time is to exit. Now, guys, I can say before he says anything, I can tell you right now, a lot has happened between then and now. Like a world of changes happened. But now I'll let Mike talk.
Yeah, first thing, the video is titled "Quitting YouTube" as the topic, not "I'm quitting YouTube." If I would have titled it "I'm quitting YouTube," but I put "Quitting YouTube" because it was a title that I was going to talk about the possibility of me having to continue YouTube, and whether I could do it. So for those who didn't see the video, because basically, if you've seen the video, you already know that I didn't quit YouTube. That wasn't what the video was about.
Mm-hmm.
I explained where my condition, what is my condition. I'm legally blind. If you didn't know, I don't see through one eye, and I have. Well, now from that video, I had 70%. I have like maybe 55% left of my eye now on this one, and I also have a day job, right? I actually work from home and I work on a computer. So I'm actually on a computer for 9 hours. I work for big giant tech company. And I am on the computer for 9 hours. And basically that's actually what's kind of draining my sight. So there's that possibility that I know it's coming closer that I won't be able to even do that job, which is my main income. That's what supports my entire family. My wife is a stay-at-home mom with more kids. That job sustains our house. So my sight is just getting worse. I can't get LASIK. It's a disease. It's like saying, kind of like, I don't want to compare it to that, but there's no cure, right? It's like saying a cancer for your eyes, type like that, where your eye just happens to just get worse and worse and worse. There's no LASIK. There's cornea transplants out of the picture, and there were no current procedures that could have been done for me to slow down, because that's all I want to do, slow down the disease, right? So eventually I was gonna become it's in my future to be completely blind. I used to be blind before I got cornea transplants on my eye. I recovered my eye, recovered my sight, but the disease was still there. Disease is still there. And so I made that video to explain the timeline that I have, whether I should continue YouTube, because I dedicate at least 3 or 4 hours to YouTube, which is more screen time. And then I go on to my day job, which is more 8 to 9 hours more. So that's like 14 hours, 10, 12, 13, 14 hours straight of just doing on the computer, doing stuff with that, with that light, the blue light. I have glasses. I have blue light glasses. But then I explained that one of them was my passion, which was YouTube, right? My passion is talking to people, being with you guys, and talking about gaming, hanging out with Nate, having the podcast, doing everything that we've been doing over the past 2 years on the channel. Because I've only been on YouTube for 2.5 years now. But doing everything that we've been doing on YouTube, that's my passion. I went to school for that when I gained my sight. I got my bachelor's degree in digital media design, a degree that's completely visual. When they told me, hey, are you sure you want to do this? Because you have to see in order to do graphic design and do video editing and do animation and do whatever. I said, yeah, it's my passion. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to spend my time with. I'm doing YouTube and giving my all on YouTube because I love Nintendo. I love interacting with people and just having a community. And because every other job I applied for in the field that I could do told me no. Said you and we don't want to discriminate against your disability, but we are a demanding job. We have to do this, you have to do that, and we don't want to put this pressure on you. We don't want that's another way of saying no, you know. So because of my disability, I've been denied like 20 jobs when it comes to my field. I went to school. I have a student loans. I never got I wasn't able to do what I love to do, and that's when I started YouTube. I'm gonna dedicate myself to just to doing the best job that I can, getting a community, kind of being a voice for disabilities. Even though I don't talk about it too much because I don't want people to look at me and say, "Hey, he's growing because he's disabled." You know, I'm growing because hopefully you guys like the product that I offer. You know, so I made that video just to give you guys an update. Look, I have so much time. I have 50% vision on my good eye, no vision on the other eye. So I don't want to lose, because like losing your sight is like you kind of say you kind of say goodbye to your loved ones in a way. You know, like I'm not gonna see my mom's face, like my mom's face. You know, I can hear her voice. My daughter's face. Can you imagine not seeing your loved one's face anymore? Just hearing their voice and then realizing the fact that you're going to be blind for the rest of your life. And then it's one thing to be blind, right? But it's one thing to see and then go blind, because you know much more what you're losing. You know, when you're blind and you can hear, because I've been blind, you hear things and you're used to that. But when you actually see, you fall in love with I fall in love with my daughter's face. I can't imagine not seeing her eyes, not seeing her face. And just having that realization, you know, that's what's waiting for me. Like, I'm going to close my eyes and this is going to be my life. My eyes closed, only with my ears open, you know? So I made that video and just say, look, I really want to do this full time, because all I have to do is 1 hour in the morning, 2 hours in the morning, do some research, make a video, spend some time with you guys, grow. This could be my income because it's also my passion. I talk with people, I motivate people, I do stuff. And then I get to enjoy my family too, because I'm not killing myself to the very end, you know, to the point where that's it. You know, I see no more color. It's just gray or blur. It's like a big blur. Like this eye is just like a gray blur, and that's it. So, not that I'm quitting YouTube, it's that I wanted to give you guys an update on my situation. And that's where I am right now. Give you guys an update. I'm going to give you an update and tell you what I told Nate. There is a new procedure. And there is a new procedure that just came on that gives me hope that I can get this surgery, and at least for my good eye, not my other eye is gone. It's never coming back. That doesn't work for that. It works for the eye that is actually good. It still has, so I still have some hope. But there's a procedure. So there's a procedure. It's still new. I told Nate, look, I'm giving myself 2 years. Like that's a lot. 2 years is a lot. I'm giving myself that much because of that procedure that just came up. I'm gonna push myself really hard on YouTube. Push myself really hard to try to go full time before that. But I'm giving myself to that point so that maybe I can just jump right in. I'm going blind anyway. I'm gonna lose my sight anyway. I'll jump right in, try to get that surgery, because if that surgery goes well, I gain 100% on my sight on one of my eyes, and that will be, man, that will be giving me back my life. You know, I don't have to fear anymore. I don't have to fear about not seeing my family, my wife, my girls, my mom, you guys, you know. So basically that's it. That was the entire thing of the video, and that's the update. There's a new procedure out there. I'm giving it time because it's still very risky. But I'm giving it time. I'm giving it time for it to kind of grow. And then I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna go for it. I'm not even gonna think it twice because I have to fight, right? I remember at that point is where I made up that saying that I say in every video: never give up and journey on, because this is a journey we are all on, and it's one that we can't give up. We just have to keep pushing forward, you know. And yeah, that's the update, guys. And yeah, for those of you who didn't know, that's why I made that video. I actually explained in that video all of this, but except for the update, because I didn't have that information yet. I spoke to Nate a lot behind the scenes. Like, we talk to each other, we help each other, we motivate each other on YouTube. Nate and I are like YouTube brothers. We talk about everything, you know, and then we motivate each other. We give each other ideas. If you see a similar video on his channel and mine, is because we talk about it. We plan. If you see a similar sponsor on his channel than on mine, is because we're working together. We motivate each other, and we're becoming like YouTube brothers, just having each other's back. So I'm very appreciative of Nate, you know. And that's it. Yeah, that's it. You know, life is a journey. Giving up is not an option. You have to just keep fighting and do what you can to survive and to be the best version of yourself you can. And then hope that at the very last moment of your life, you have motivated and inspired enough people so that they can continue to do the same. And that's it, man. That's it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you guys go. I know that sometimes, you know, we don't talk about this kind of stuff because I've gotten in a bad habit in the past of getting a little too personal at times on YouTube, but it was something that was brought up, and I just wanted to make sure we got it clarified. I've known about some of this stuff for a while, but you know, you don't talk about other people's stuff. That's just not. What kind of friend would I be if I did that? So that being said, let's briefly touch on our last topic, because there was an indie world this week. And here's basically every game that was in it. I'll just quickly list them off here. We had Rogue Legacy 2, Venba, A Little to the Left, Blanc, Have a Nice Death, Once Upon a Jester, AKA Sports Story. That was what they ended with. Botany Manor, Goodbye World, Dor Dogna, or I don't know, I can't pronounce it, but it's Dordogne. A Space for the Unbound, Coffee Talk Episode 2, Hibiscus and Butterfly, Oni, Road to the Mightiest Oni, Desta, The Memories Between, Pepper Grinder, and there was a bunch of stuff they put in a sizzle reel. Inscription was one that's reviewed really, really well. That was in the sizzle reel, coming out in December, as is Sports Story. Wobble Dogs Console Edition, WrestleQuest, Storyteller, Curse of the Sea Rats, World of Horror, and there's probably maybe a handful of others that maybe didn't get listed. I got these off of Nintendo's PR email that they sent out, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this PR email has every game, because they showed a lot of games. So what are your thoughts on the indie world? Good, bad, indifferent?
And it's an indie world, you know. When you go into an indie world, you have to expect the unexpected, because they're independent games, they're unknown developers, and sometimes this is one person making a game, having their big day, their big chance to shine. And I love that Nintendo does that. I've heard so many stories about that, and it's awesome. That some games are not for you. Yeah, you're gonna find that. It's, you know, where you were used to getting jammed into our brains the first party games and the third party big major company games, which, you know, they have the money to promote, and they got the money to be just, you know, we see them constantly, right? But this indie direct is something so beautiful about it that Nintendo gives a platform. They don't have to do this, by the way. You know, they can say, hey, you have the money, pay up and promote your game, you know. But they give you this platform so that you can present your game. That's why we saw from France, we saw one person from France. We saw two people. They look like a couple from another place, another country. present their game, and that's what it's all about. It's about in indie developers. I had a comment today. I'm like, I don't know why Nintendo does this. I don't know anybody from India. I'm like, it's not indie like India from India. It's indie from independent, developers. They get a chance to promote their games, and this it could be a hit or miss depending on how it's planned. And I think it's a good platform, but it can be a hit or miss depending on how it's planned. And I feel like if the right person who plans it, thinks about everybody when it comes to what kind of games they're going to promote and the variety of games they're going to show, then I feel like it could shine more and people could they could leave feeling a little better rather than just giving just one type of game or one type of look throughout the entire thing that might resonate with some people, but not with the entire, not with everybody. You know what I mean? I think that's why some people go away feeling like, oh, that wasn't for me. Like I can't even remember. That sucks or blah blah blah, because maybe this one was very narrow, even though it was a great one because it displayed a whole bunch of beautiful games from developers. Except for the end, of course, we got that big surprise at the end. It's not Golf Story. Is it Golf
Sports Story? It's the same people who made Golf Story.
Right, from Golf Story.
Yep.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody was happy with that game because
the game looks incredible.
It's a game we know and we love, and it's awesome. It's a really cool game.
They added a lot to this. Like they did, we're not just sitting around doing nothing. Holy crud!
yeah, exactly. So the game is massive, right? They made it even bigger. So the thing is that if it weren't for that game, a lot of people would have been just, because they don't know the game. They don't it's not their, sometimes it's not their cup of tea. I saw RGT's response to the RGT has no filter. He just tells it how he feels it. And it's funny. I like to watch it because it's just funny to watch. It's hilarious. A lot of people feel that way too, A lot of people feel that way because they're not exposed to those games or those developers or those type of games. There was this coffee game that was apparently the part 2, the Something Story part 2.
Yep.
Or episode 2, right? And I'm like, what happened? Some people are like, okay, that's the part 2. Where's episode 1 or something? Because they're indie developers who don't get that they don't have those funds to promote and to stick those games in our eyes to a point where we know them. They're not household names. You know what I mean? So when you go into an indie developer Nintendo Direct, you have to go with that mentality. You're gonna see developers who don't have that resource, and there's ones you might like, and there's ones you might not like. But you have to go with an open mind and know that no, not like what they're spamming in the chat. I want to see the Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Sun trailer, or where's a brand new Mario game, or
I'm also tired of hearing if there's no Hollow Knight, it's a bad indie world. Can we just stop? That's one game.
It was already announced in the direct, in a general direct, wasn't it?
No, so it's been in an indie world before, and they had it at E3 2019 playable. And last time we really saw it was when it was announced it's going to be on Xbox, and that's fine. There's still no release date for it, and I'm like, look, I want an update on it too. I want to know when it's coming out. I would like to see it on Switch again since the last time we saw it was on Xbox. But also, can we chill a little bit? It's one game, and it's a really big game, and they don't need an indie world because everyone already knows about that game.
Yeah.
They can announce it whenever. Like, indie worlds are about drawing attention to games that need it. And you might go, well, they put Sports Story. Well, yeah, they need a big game. They always have a bigger indie game to end with.
Yeah.
And it's a Switch exclusive. And Nintendo does help fund it. And on top of that, we hadn't heard of Sports Story even longer than it's been Hollow Knight. Sports Story was announced a long time ago, and we haven't seen it since. So, and it's coming out. It's actually coming out in December. Clearly, Hollow Knight's not coming out in December. So, yeah, I honestly, I rewatched it twice because I just want to make sure I had a good grasp on it. And honestly, there wasn't a single indie game I saw that looked like it was a bad game. And I think what happens with Indie Worlds and Nintendo Directs is people go in with expectations of, I want this, I want that. And when they don't get what they want, it's automatically bad.
Yeah.
And my viewpoint's always been different. And this isn't because I'm a YouTuber or content creator, even though I've been one for a while. This has just always been my approach, even when I was a kid. I could watch E3 on TV and go, even though that's not for me, I still think it looks cool. There's clearly going to be some people who like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like things don't have to be for me to know that, hey, that looks like a pretty good game. And almost all of these games looked really good. And I think what happens is it's because they're unknown properties. People are like, oh, this is trash. Oh, this is trash. Oh, this. It's like, how would you know? Did you play it? No? Then what are we talking about? Like, indie worlds are always full of the unknown. That's the point of them, to highlight. And you want to know how important indie worlds are? Because the eShop doesn't have a suggestion system to help bring up the cream of the crop.
You hit it. You got it.
Indie worlds are even more important because Nintendo's telling you what the cream of the crop is.
Exactly.
This is the cream of the crop. Here you go. We're shoving it in your face. Do with it what you will.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail. That's it. That basically like tells you, because the Switch has a lot of games, and let me tell you, it does have a lot of trash. It does. Okay, it does. It has a lot. So Nintendo is taking all these awesome games, separating aside, and giving you guys a highlight of these games that you might have never played if you didn't see them in the end of Direct. You know, so I mean, and Silksong is on the website, is on Nintendo's website. Okay, Hollow Knight Silksong is on Nintendo's website, so it was already announced. It's just up to the company, the developer, to actually release the game, not Nintendo. You know, so when it says TBD, releasing TBD. Whenever they're ready, they'll release it. You know, so you know, if it's not in the Direct, if you don't see it, it's because it's not Nintendo's fault. It's actually the developer of the who's the developer of this game? Silksong. Somebody.
I don't remember off the top of my head. When you tell me, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, right.
I don't even know. But yeah. So
the Cherry something. I feel like it's Team Cherry.
Variety. What was that?
Chat, correct me. Is it Team Cherry? They just popped in my head. I didn't even look it up. I think it's Team Cherry. Anyways.
I'm actually on the website. I'm not even looking at the name. I'm so dumb. But anyway, yeah, it's Team Cherry. You're right.
Yay! I remembered something in the back of my mind.
Yeah, so I think the Indie Direct was great. You know what I mean? And I'm happy for all of those developers who had their moment in the sun. I got an email right after, literally minutes after the Indie Direct finished. They were extremely hyped, sending this email, offering game codes to play the game. I think it was what game? The black and white one with the cat.
Don't remember which one it was.
No, but it was nice. You know, I mean, they were super excited about their game. You know, being in the Indie Direct and having the exposure that they are unable to. It's made by Gearbox. The game is called Blanc.
Okay. Yeah.
Blanc, yeah. So I got the code right away in my email. The game looks nice. It looks beautiful. It's a very nice, laid back, kind of relaxing kind of game. You know, not everything has to be hack and slash. Although they have hack and slash if you wanted one, which is called the Death one.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a very nice variety of games there. For everybody, and believe it or not, when we support these indie developers, they grow to bigger and better games. You know, this is, for some of them, this is their first game, and how we receive these games might push them to develop even greater games. You know, we have to kind of support them because, you know, they are the, you know, developers who are trying to give us something new to look at we're kind of used to seeing the same exact story over and over again, right? And then these developers come here with a brand new art style, a new way of designing a game that doesn't look like everything else out there, right? We're used to the main character, like a Mario character, going from point A to point B. We have to rescue something, get coins, whatever, free lives, whatever, and then we have a story that, okay, we don't have anybody to rescue, but we can have a good time. There's a lot to do there. There's just that beautiful music, the beautiful art style, and there's something to do, And I feel like we have to support them, So to me, it was a good one. It was a good one, even though, to be honest, the games look beautiful. Is not games that I would play. I got this code. I'm gonna try it out, but I am for supporting, indie developers, on their journey to creating their version of what we are used to seeing every day.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was pretty good. Some people, I know, man, poor Zach. Zach from Switch Force, when he covered it, he said it was like the best indie world ever for him, and he just got dislike bombed like crazy.
Sucks.
It's weird, man. Like, if people enjoy stuff, it's suddenly bad because you didn't. I don't know, man. It's weird. I mean, it's the same thing that happened to me on the video I made about how we don't need a next generation Switch, because guys, my entire point of that video was every time I've talked about like a Switch 2 or a Switch Pro, I've never once said, oh, because we need better visuals, or oh, because we need better frame rates. My entire conversation around it's always been based on data.
Yeah.
So, like, when I made the video, it's because the data actually shows we don't necessarily have to have one in 2023. And people got mad at me because, but Bayonetta 3 isn't as pretty as one. Oh, Sonic Frontiers, all this, all that. It's like, I get what you're saying. That wasn't the point of the conversation. Watch the video. Like, none of this has anything to do with personal desires. I would have bought a Switch Pro 2 years ago. I would buy a brand new Switch every year. If they released a yearly upgraded Switch, I'd buy it every year. I am that kind of consumer. But Nintendo isn't doing that. So I can't sit back and say I'm unhappy with my Switch. I'm going to be playing Pokemon next week. It's going to be pretty fun. Splatoon 3 is still pretty fun. Tears of the Kingdom is going to be pretty fun. So we kind of see this in reactions when people have positive or negative reactions to things, and then so the crowd is so much swinging in the other direction that they just get really upset. And look, I think the indie world was fine. It wasn't, to me, like, for me personally, it wasn't the greatest indie world ever, but I always think the indie worlds are pretty solid. They show me a bunch of games I didn't know about. I sometimes buy some of them. There's a couple in here that I'm going to get, Sports Story being one of them. So it was a pretty good indie world. It convinced me to buy a couple games I wasn't going to get. So it's a good one for me. If it's a bad one for you, I'm sorry that they didn't release a indie world that's directly catered to exactly what you want. I don't know what you want from indie games. You know what you want, but Nintendo doesn't know. They're just grabbing what they think are high quality games and showing them to us. So, because Nintendo has to approve of all of them to release. Believe it or not, yes, someone at Nintendo looked at some of those games that they don't. I'm not talking just about the trash. I'm talking about some of the adult, the AO games that Switch allows that other platforms don't. Someone at Nintendo approved of those games existing, so it's whatever, man. I thought the indie world was great. It's not the best ever, not the worst ever. I obviously have my rankings of how I would rank different directs and different indie worlds, but indie worlds are tough, man, because to rank an indie world, it's a bunch of games I don't know a lot about. So it's different than like ranking directs where it's the big games. And I know a lot about the big games because we cover them all the time. I'm on a channel that covers indie games all the time outside of indie worlds, and I didn't even live stream it this time. I know, for shame, Nate, you didn't live stream it this time. I wasn't feeling good. All right, I was sleeping. Sorry. I am
was looking for that.
I
I'm
am
like,
a full-time YouTuber, and one thing Yulia hates about me being a full-time YouTuber is if I really just need to take a nap, I can take a nap, and she hates like. But your video, yeah, if I put it out later, it's whatever. I'm gonna take a nap. like that's one thing that's convenient when you're your own boss is you just want to take off, you can take off. But I still worked that day, and I still ended up putting in like 10 hours, but it just was later in the day. So yeah, it's interesting how people react to some of the stuff. You know, so I woke up, I watched it on my phone, and I was like, oh, it wasn't too bad. Then I get to the internet, worst indie world ever. This is trash. I'm like, oh boy. I mean, they had Sports Story. That alone was good enough. They could have showed me nothing but that. So okay, cool. Moving on with my day. So I didn't even do a reaction to it because I was like, well, my reaction is positive. That's going to get trashed because I just watched other people have positive reactions get trashed. So I'm only going to get good marks if I go negative, but that's not how I really feel. So we're just going to avoid it until the podcast. Why? Because the podcast is on a completely different channel, and if people unsubscribe here, it's whatever. Please don't unsubscribe, but people do unsubscribe. During this show alone, we have lost 5 subscribers on this channel.
Really? Right, this show right now?
During this show, yep. Oh. And let me tell you, I don't just randomly lose. This isn't like my other YouTube channel. I don't randomly lose subscribers on this channel. It's only when I do content on this channel. So we only gain or lose when content's made. Well, the content's the podcast. So apparently someone didn't like the podcast. It's whatever. What are you going to do? Damn, that's a Post Malone. What? Why is Post Malone coming up in the chat? Also, Mike Rodriguez, I guess I'll recognize you since you claim we don't read anything in the chat. I can tell you right now, I read everything in the chat. The podcast is about the topics we have to talk about. We only bring in stuff from the chat when it's relevant to what we're talking about. So when you're like, do they even read it? Do they even do this? Yes. It's just, we have our topics. This is a show we're putting on. You guys sit back. You can discuss amongst yourselves. You can enjoy it. If you say something that adds to it, we'll bring it up. Otherwise, we usually don't. I just wanted to let you know that, yes, we do read it. And to answer your question, why not just make a podcast and add it to the YouTube channels? Where do you think this podcast started? It's existed for 6 years. Why do you think it's called the Nintendo Prime Podcast? Did you know there's another YouTube channel called Nintendo Prime? And that's where this podcast used to be. If you want to know the truth why it's no longer on the channel, my MCN convinced me. On top of that, I make too much content. I did a no today on my main channel. I don't know why I did it. I did a big no. So I've been putting out a couple videos a day this week, which is my ideal. I want to get a couple videos out a day. And my ideal is to get them out by no later than the first video, no later than 9 a.m. The second video should be out by 3 p.m. Those are like the peak hours to hit with my audience, right? The problem is that, I haven't been feeling well, so I've been getting extra sleep and doing these things just to recover and get back to feeling healthy for the holidays. So my videos haven't been hitting on time. So you aren't supposed to release more than 3 videos, 3 pieces of content. This would include shorts, by the way, which I'm not even doing within a 24-hour period. No more than 3. I did 4.
When today?
Yes, the last video I put up, Nintendo talks about next generation hardware features or whatever.
You did
that was the 4th video within 24 hours.
That's grinding, Nate. Grind.
Well, it's kind of funny too because every other video did well. So the price hike video, well, people don't like that. Screw you, Nate. We're not going to watch it. 1,000 views. Next video, Nintendo just destroyed the Switch, whatever narrative thing it was I was talking about the Switches for kids. 4,000 views. Next video, Nintendo Switch has proven we don't need. Oh, people don't like that. 1,600 views so far. It'll probably hit 2,000. But next video after, it's already at. Hold on, let me get the exact numbers. I have exact numbers. You guys don't. It's already at 2.8K. So every other video has been a banger. So you know what? If I keep that up, I release 2 videos a day. One of them should work, right? But yeah, no, it was. I didn't want to wait. Basically, I was sitting on the Nintendo Talks Next Gen. I had it done, and I'm like, I should wait until we get an hour past the 24 hours. And we were at 23, and I'm like, you know what? 2 of my last 3 videos bombed. Just throw it out there. And you know what? It didn't do very well that first hour. I was worried. It only had 400 views in the first hour, and I'm like, but then we got past the 24-hour period, and it started sending out notifications, and then it bounced back. So,
yeah, that's how all my videos are. Like only this week,
your next gen week.
Yeah, it is my next gen week. Tomorrow, I'm talking about this little guy here, right here. But it's
it's my Steam Deck.
Yeah, only this week have my videos surpassed like the 1K in the first hour. Maybe because people want to talk about the next gen. It's a fun conversation. And then I never actually give a release date. It's all basically features and news that have to do with the next gen, or what does this news how does this news affect the future for so and so. So only this week, but normally I get like the following day is actually the day that my previous video grows. So if I actually release 2 videos a week, I think I'll stay like the 500 level, 200.
Yeah, I hear you.
So yeah, I mean, your videos have the 2 today. I think they're doing pretty good.
My 2 today?
Yeah.
No, my one earlier today is not doing good. That one's pretty much.
Tomorrow they'll probably get more notifications, because I know I get notifications for.
Yeah, that's how your channel works, not mine. I can tell usually within the first hour if it's going to be a good video. I don't really get a second wave.
Like a second wave. I only get a second wave. I don't get the first wave. Just get actually my first wave comes the day after.
Yeah. So. I don't get it. I can tell within an hour if it's gonna hit. And I got lucky because I got a 2-hour window with my last video because it was right on the edge of the 24 hours. But yeah, it's that first video I made today, it might slowly crawl to 2,000 views. That's not a good video for me.
Yeah.
It's great for you. And what's awesome is I'm sitting there like, I was looking at your channel today, Mike, and I'm like, his average viewership on his videos this week are higher than mine.
Like
he's already passing me. He's growing at a faster pace than I am. His viewership numbers are starting to be as good, if not better. Oh boy. I am literally, guys, a month away from Mike just being a bigger, better channel. He'll be at 100K before Christmas. It's happening.
A month away.
It's all good. We already talked about it. Mike said it's okay if I pass you up. I can ride his coattails.
No, dude.
He gets to 100K plus. I'll be like, okay, Mike. Now I got to ride your coattails. Help me get to 100K because I don't know how to do it.
Dude, people don't know is that an Odyssey is a group of people on a journey together. It's not one person. It's a journey. It's a group of people. So you're part of the Odyssey. you're walking beside. If I ever pass you, I'm gonna be every single day and mentioning your channel. Promise.
I mean, the viewership numbers are what really matter, and I'm really happy you're getting good views. That's cool. Hey, the funny thing is, if I never got hacked, this isn't even a problem. My channel was soaring, man. Dude, I was getting almost 10K views a video and several thousand new subscribers a month, and it just, it's whatever.
Yeah, rebrand. Nate Odyssey.
Rebrand.
Nate Odyssey.
Joining the Odyssey Network.
Join the Odyssey Network. Dude, I've had this idea that I want to pitch to Mr. Beast if I ever meet him, where he is in the position to create a network of YouTubers who are associated to him, right?
Yeah.
And for being under him, they have their own, like, for example, let's say we're both together on his network. We get the promotion, we get our channels to grow and do our own content and everything. Make sure that we keep our content at a higher quality. We collaborate with him, but 10% of our channel goes to him. You know what I mean, so just
I
like
think
an
he had.
MCN, but
I
He'll be-
feel like he had a program for that once, and I don't know what happened to it. I remember seeing it.
like a group of people that are associated with him, and then he gets 10% of each channel.
Yeah, I can't remember. Gosh,
If I have
maybe
a
someone
bro
in the
to a
chat
point-
can help me out. There was something. I applied for it and got rejected. It was
I don't
something where
even-
like he buys your channel and gives you an
Uh-huh.
influx of cash, but
Yeah.
then you basically retain it, and he'll just take 10% off the top.
Okay, so
So it's like a short-term loan that includes a promotion,
Yeah,
and then he just takes 10%. But I don't know whatever
Yeah.
happened with that. I'm not sure if that program died or whatever. But
yeah.
I remember
'Cause
applying for it, and I
a
got.
shout out for him will give you instantly 1 million subscribers.
I mean, don't doubt.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah, like how? I mean, even if you just did it on Twitter, how big is his Twitter following these days? We know how big his YouTube channel is. I never check his Twitter that often. He's got 16 million on Twitter,
Yeah.
and every
He
time he
knows what-
tweets out, he gets at least 100K likes.
Yeah. So I mean, and Twitter's a small.
Small potatoes. Yeah,
So-
if he shouts you out in a video, forget about it.
Yeah, that's it. That is it, dude.
Like I've been shouted
I-
out in Review Tech USA's video. That day I gained -5 subscribers.
that day.
So
What do you-
Review Tech USA.
what do you-
Sorry, buddy. Your shout out didn't help much. Basically, nobody subscribed because you shouted me out. So
What did he say?
I can't remember. It was for some piece of news or something.
Okay.
It was a positive thing he said. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He even linked me and everything.
shouted me out.
Yeah.
I got
RGT,
I
that
got-
bastard.
on the day. On the RGT shout out, I got 400 subscribers in that one day. I think out of those 400 subscribers, like 175 stuck around.
Gain is
So that's-
gain. 175 is like the grand total of subscribers I've gained in the last 6 months. So seriously, my channel is 71% improvement October or November compared to October at -9 subscribers.
Let's
Getting there.
rebrand, dude. Rebrand.
No, I'm not gonna rebrand. I am who I am.
Well, that-
However,
Well-
however, I am one thing I'm doing, guys, and this is just obviously got a little ramble talk here at the end. Is I am so I've decided I'm going back to 2 videos. The Prime 5 thing was cool. I enjoyed it. Not saying I'll never do multi-story videos again. Super quick and all that. But I do feel like I sort of hit a wall with it. And if I didn't have a big headline story, nobody watched. And then I noticed over time that as people realized they only came for the headline, they would skip to where the headline was and only watch 1 minute of the video. So my watch time that initially went up started crashing. And I noticed that now that I do like an individual topic video or a discussion video, that I'm gaining more subscribers doing that. Which, to be honest, that's what I was doing last year. I didn't do multi-topic videos. I tried Prime News a couple times, but mostly crashed and burned. But it was my individual topics and my discussion videos that kept blowing up. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to go back to what I was doing that worked and only stopped working because I got hacked. So there's that. And I keep talking about it. There will be how-to videos dropping on the weekend eventually. I'm trying to build a list so that once I start making them, they just keep coming out. Like even if it's only every other week. And the how-to videos are for you guys for the most part, but they work.
Could be.
How-to videos work on YouTube. Switch is a bit weird right now because obviously we're sort of at the end of the life. But I can tell you right now, one how-to video that's going to be dropping, I believe I might even drop it Christmas Day, is going to be a how-to video on how to set up your Switch. And then the following video will be something about essential accessories for new Switch owners. And then there'll be another video after that that's going to be something built around the first like 5 to 10 things you should do as a new Switch owner. So like, but those are all going to be built around the holiday season when people are opening their presents.
Yeah.
So a lot of that's going to be like end of December, early January. We'll see how that goes. And then of course, you know, how to get free games in 2023.
Yeah.
probably drop that one by the end of January. Basically, January might have a lot of how-tos dropping that are supposed to build up for the entire year. But we'll see how it goes. Because guys, the last how-to video I did is still blowing up. So
listen. I cannot wait for that next gen console because day one.
You know how many how-to videos you'll be able to make for that?
How to download free games on Nintendo.
How to transfer your games to your new console. How to set up your account on the new console. How to add more storage to your new console. How to manage your software. How to upload your game saves. How to. And it's more exciting when it's something new and not something that most people already know how to do.
Yeah, and then you continue to do your regular videos, but those videos in the background keep helping people and they subscribe and they you know, people appreciate it, so they come, you know, they subscribe and your channel grows.
Yeah, as an example, my how to download free games is now up to over 20,000 views. Awesome. Gave me over 65 subscribers, and it has 500 views in the last 48 hours, and that's just good. Consistently has 500 views in the last 24 hours. What's really weird is my top traffic source in the last 24 is external. Who the hell linked to my video? I have no idea. Someone linked to it off YouTube somewhere. I have no idea where.
Yeah, somebody shared it somewhere because they found it helpful, so they wanted to.
Yeah, Reddit or Twitter or something.
Like on a Facebook forum or group or whatever. Yeah, but it helps, man. The very first video that I made on that topic.
Oh boy. Yeah, you've been at it for years. You got a little bit of a head start on me.
Yeah, that one has 329,000.
Yeah, buddy.
And then it has gotten me 3,200.
Damian Guerrero, I will be playing the new Pokemon. So all the major games I do launch streams for. The thing with the Pokemon, my Pokemon streams tend not to do very well, but I have no idea. Maybe because of the hype around this one, it'll be good. My best launch streams are always Zelda games. And like Tears of the Kingdom, I will probably be doing like a midnight launch stream that's like a 10-hour stream. And then that'll lead into multiple 10-hour streams over the weekend. And then I'll get to Monday. Yulia will rip my head off for ignoring her all weekend and playing video games. But then I'll be like, but honey, look, I gained like 2,000 subscribers. It was sweet.
Yeah.
Maybe I made $5. I don't know. Because stream revenue for me is it's all about super chats and memberships. Like there's no ad revenue.
Tell you that first video I just told you in the last 7 days, got 1,000 views.
Yeah.
Made 5 new subscribers and made me $3.29. So hey.
Yeah. Let me look at the last 7 days, man. It's not as impressive because obviously I had 500 in the last 48 hours, but.
Yeah, but I'm saying I have 3 or 4 videos of those.
Yeah, I know you do. So let me sort by the last week, last 7 days. So I've got 1.6 thousand views, even more than yours. Granted, this is your original video.
Yeah, that's the original one. Yeah.
Gained 3 subscribers, and I made $6.80. So guys, I can buy a Happy Meal. Yes, I can almost buy the adult Happy Meal.
It's hilarious.
But I mean,
you know what I've noticed?
Yeah.
The video that I created, remember the same post thumbs up video?
Yeah.
Those thumbs up videos they'll do better than just me saying free games on the the thumbnail.
Wait, the thumbs up videos? Oh, the one where you're like in the hey, let me put my thumb up because free games.
That's exactly.
Yeah, I'm thinking about putting myself back in the thumbnails too. I haven't done that in a while. I did that a lot last year.
Same pose, same thumbs up.
You know what? You know what I noticed a difference between my videos last year and this year too is so you guys are getting some behind the scenes stuff here. When I made my videos last year and I was in the thumbnail all the time, it meant I had to give a shit what I looked like every day. So I looked good in the thumbnail, which meant I probably also looked good in the video. And I realized there's some times I'm just wearing a t-shirt, throw a hat on, not really caring. My beard's not always clean cut. And I'm like, I got to go back to being in the thumbnails again because I honestly think it just made everything better because it made me care more. You get a little complicit when you just work at home. And I know I'm an on-camera person, but it's like, I don't feel like messing with my hair today. I'll just throw my hat on, which is fine sometimes, but should it be every day? And then if I'm just throwing my hat on, did I check my beard? Is it okay? Did I make sure like my shirt isn't wrinkled or something? Like,
Thumbnails are
so maybe that's the key. I'm not in my thumbnails anymore. I gotta go back in my thumbnails. People used to make fun of my thumbnails. It was hilarious. What?
I think that
I only have like two faces. I'm either pissed off or I'm like shocked. There's like no other face I can do.
And
that's hilarious. It's great.
That's fun.
All right,
the only
guys.
thumbnail I worked really hard on was on the bus simulator thumbnail. That's the most.
Dude, that thumbnail was awesome. That was a great thumbnail.
Yeah, but it kind of gives you the wrong impression of the game, right? It gives you like you act. It looks like I'm about to crash the bus somewhere.
No, I think your video got more views than mine because of that thumbnail. So, and to be fair, you do flip the bus.
I did flip the bus. Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of accurate. I feel like if I was driving the bus and it was flipping, that's what I'd look like.
I did flip the bus. It was upside down.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in, you guys. If you enjoyed the podcast, be sure to subscribe to our podcast channel. You can go check out our main channel at Nintendo Prime or over at Mike Odyssey. We deliver news and discussion videos all the time, every day, usually at least Monday through Friday. I haven't really been getting stuff out on the weekends like I want, but I do have a video for sure coming this Saturday. And I don't know if I'll have a video on Sunday yet. This is fly by the seat of my pants. I am doing this full time now, so I'm just trying to get more organized. Once I feel better, it's weird because I kind of sort of, I got what I thought was a cold, and then I get it like, oh, COVID, but it wasn't. I kept testing negative. I even went in and got a test and was negative. So then I thought, oh, maybe it's a flu. They're not even sure what it is. We tried antibiotics. It's not going away. We tried, obviously, just normal cold medicine. Then they tried flu medicine, which you're not even supposed to take unless they know for sure it's the flu. And none of it really got rid of it. But today I have coughed a little bit less than yesterday. So whatever I did the other day when I slept all day, apparently I just need to sleep all day. I just need 18 hours of sleep. That was the key. I felt like I was sleeping enough, but apparently whatever this is, my body just needs even more rest. So once I'm back to 100%, then you're going to see a bit more regular scheduled times of my videos and regular weekend videos because I have time to actually plan the weekend videos. And the streams will be a bit more normal as well. Might be cutting back on the number of streams I do. Basically just cutting one a week. But that's because I want to give myself time to focus on weekend content. And when streams eat up the time, I would have to do that.
Yeah.
So. No, don't leave. I'm sorry, man. You should have brushed your teeth already. All right, man. Mike, thank you so much for joining me. You guys a new video dropping tomorrow featuring something that rhymes with cream peck. Don't question my use of cream and peck, okay? But it rhymes with cream peck. And I have no idea what my video is tomorrow. It's going to be something probably news related. So,
dude, what kind of description is that?
I said rhymes with.
Oh, you couldn't say stream.
No cream.
Wreck.
Cream peck.
Stream?
Cream peck. That's what we're going with. Cream peck.
All right.
What was I supposed to say? We're streaming a peck. I don't think that's so much better. Let's just be honest. All right, guys. Have a good rest of your day. And we will catch you next week. I know the podcast was a day late. Don't worry about it. Don't worry.